Hello friends, I'm Amitesh at SQL, and in this tutorial you will learn difference between temporary table and table variables. So both are temporary but they have different syntaxes and they are much different with each other in many contexts. So we will discuss each and everything in a comparative study and we will see the differences in practical also. So let's start and stay tuned. So as we know, the temp table get declared using hash keyword, either single hash or double hash. If we create a temp table using single hash, then it means it is available to the local session only. And if we are creating a temp table with double hash, it is a global temporary table which will be available for all the sessions. Table variable get declared using @. If we talk about the syntax, table variable is created using create statement. So we always say create table, temporary table name and then column names and their data type. But we cannot create table variables. We always declare it. So the command is declare table variable, then table and then column and then data types. Okay, so table is a data type here using which we declare a table variable. Now, if I discuss about the life cycle, temp table exists till the session is available. So as we know, one session is one connection with the SQL Server database instance. So when we create a temporary table within that session, so that temporary table remain available until the session get dropped or disconnected. But table variable is available till the block executes. We declare a table variable within a SQL blocks. It could be a T-SQL block also where we can write multiple statements. But as long as that programming block executes, till then the table variable remain available. And once the block execution completed, then table variable get vanished. Now scope. A temporary table can be available to its local session or globally to all sessions which are connected to the same database instance. So let's say there are hundreds of sessions which are connecting to a single SQL server, and if in one session I have declared a global temporary table, then in all that sessions that temporary table will remain available. Okay, any user, any connection can query that table, insert value into it and even can drop it. But table variable always remain available to its local block only. So as long as the block is executing, within that block, if the table variable is declared, it will be available, but once the block is completed, the table got dropped. Next is DDL command. Temp table fully support all DDL commands like any other normal tables. It means on temporary table we can use create statement, alter statement and drop statement. It means using create statement we can create a temporary table. Using alter we can add new columns, add new constants, indexes, can drop the constant and can modify the temporary table structure. Or also we can drop the temporary tables, but the table variables does not support any DDL statements. We cannot use create statement. We cannot modify the table variable once it is created using alter command, and we also cannot drop or truncate the records from the table variable. Now let's talk about the transaction. Temporary table participate in transactions, but table variable does not participate in transactions. If I explain the transaction, so transaction is a sequence of operations performed on database as a single unit of work. It means if we run some SQL statements within a transaction, the effect of all SQL statement with a transaction either should be committed or rolled back. So within a transaction we can have n number of SQL statements, but once either all the statement within a transaction get committed or rolled back, then we refer a transaction get completed. So temporary table respects transaction, but table variable does not regard transactions. We will discuss in practical. Now finally, the user-defined functions can refer table variables, but temporary table cannot participate in user-defined function. That also we will see in practical examples. I have already created a video on temporary table and table variables in much detail. If you want to see that video, please go to the description. I have provided the link for both of the lessons. Now let's move to the SQL Server Management Studio, where we will see all these discussed points in practical. Well, so we start with the syntax. You can see I have written a declare statement, declare then table variable name, Then table is a data type here, and into this table variable I am creating two columns, ID and name. Once the table variable is declared, then I can insert value and can query it as any normal table. You can see table variable is created and I have inserted 4 rows here. So twice the insert statement you can see, and in each insert statement I'm passing 2 row values. So total 4 rows inserted here, and I can query that table variable. For temporary table we use create statement like as we do in normal tables. So create table temporary table name. This is my local temporary table because I'm using single hash, and then column names, then insert some values and then select the table. Sorry, by mistake I'm inserting value into table variable, so I will update it with temp table. Now I'm creating a temporary table, inserting values into the temporary table, and then run a select statement on it. So this is the syntax for temporary table. Now life cycle of the table variable. So as we have already discussed in the slide, that table variable remain available till the SQL block execution. So let me show you using the example. Here I am selecting my table variable, and using Go I have separated this block and writing a select statement in this separate block. So no matter if I run this in a single go, here SQL will take it as a separate block and this select statement as a different block, because I have separated both the segment using Go. If I run all the statement together, you can see first time the table is declared, inserted 4 rows, and then select statement is displaying my table. But when this block ends and I again query the same table, the message says must declare a table variable name. So it means out of the executing block, table variable has no existence, but temporary table remain available. I just created the temporary table, and again if I call this table, you can see it is still available. So it will remain available until I got disconnected from the session. Let me just reconnect with the session. So when I will try to connect it again, the existing session will be disconnected, and then I will reconnect to the same database. Now I'm back to the session, use sample db, and if I query this table again, which I created just a while ago, now this table is not available because the session has disconnected and reconnected with the new connection. Now discuss about the scope. What is the visibility of temporary table and table variable? So far this is clear to us that table variable has no visibility out of its programming block, but temporary table visibility can be limited to a local session or available to all sessions. It depends that what type of temporary table we will be creating. So if I am creating a temporary table using single hash, then it will be visible to the local session only. That means to this connection only. If I create a new connection, then this local temporary table will not be available there. But if I create a temporary table using double hash, then this temporary table will available to all the sessions which is connecting to this SQL Server database, and will remain available until the parent session where I have declared get disconnected. Let me show you in the example. Let's say I create one temporary table again, which is local one, and if I query this table in the another session, it is no more available here. And if I create a global temporary table using double hash, table is created, and if I go back to another session and this time I query this global temporary table which is created using double hash, the table is available in another session also. So this is about the scope of table variable and local and global temporary tables. Now let's discuss about the DDL statements. How temporary table or table variables behave with the DDL statements. DDL statement does not work with the table variable. So it means dropping, creating, alter or any DDL statement should be failed on table variable. Let me run this query and it will prove that DDL statement does not go with the table variable. It says incorrect syntax near table variable here. If I double click it, it highlights the problem statement. So both the error is coming from the DDL statement queries. But if I run only this section, it runs fine. So it means DDL statement will fail with the table variables. Okay, the same error again. Now if I create a temporary table and drop it, it works perfectly fine. It means the DDL statement drop or alter, create all works fine with the temporary table like any other normal tables. Now let's see how both deals with the transactions. In this example, you can see I have begun an explicit transaction here and declaring a table variable, inserting some value into it, and then select statement on the table variable. Just after that, I'm trying to roll back the transaction. It means whatever I'm performing after creating a transaction, all should be rolled back. So the table which is declared within a transaction should not be available anymore once it gets rolled back. And then I will verify whether the table variable exists or not. Okay, let me run this query. And you can see the transaction started. Then I declared a table variable, inserted some value into it, and select the table. So this is my first select statement, and then I roll back. So if table variable respect transaction, everything should be rolled back and the definition of the table variable should go away. But we can see even after rollback, we can query the table variable. But if I do the same thing with the temporary table, like I created a table, then I begin the transaction and inserting some value into it, and then selecting the table, and after that I'm doing a rollback and then again selecting the table. Let's see what happens in this case. Okay, so table created successfully, then transaction began, then I inserted 3 rows into it and then select the table. So this is my first select statement, and then just after that I rolled back the insertion statement. So insert statement got rolled back, and then when I try to query the table again, there is no value inserted into the table. So it means temporary table regards transactions. So in this explicit transaction that I created, it works perfectly fine with the temporary table but not with the table variables. Now in the last example, we will see that table variable can easily be referred in the functions. So here I am creating a user defined simple function called fun. In this I'm returning table variable. This is a newly declared table variable using table data type with one column only, name. Then I insert 1 as a character value into this table variable and then returning this table variable as an output of this function. And if I create this function, so function get created successfully. It means within a function we can create a table variable and can easily refer it, but this is not allowed with the temporary table. So this is all about the differences between temporary table and table variables. So whatever we discussed in the slide, that all we have seen practically. Hope this will add some value to your knowledge. If yes, then please like video and subscribe my channel, and if not, then do let me know in the comments so I can improve and can make more learning and interesting videos. I am also writing my blog at getsetSQL.com. You can visit there. I have written many topics on SQL Server, and also in future I'll be adding more on Power BI, Alteryx and MSBI topics. You also can advise me here in the comment that what topics I should cover in my blog and in my videos. So this is all for now. Take care, stay blessed. Thank you.